Hello and welcome to another Monday live stream. My name is Shane Olson and today we're going to be sculpting this fun little guy by Joshua Black. And yeah, I love the planes of this face. Looks really fun. And we'll figure out these glasses and stuff. So thank you for joining me today. And let's get to it. All right, so I like to start with a sphere, but I like to make it big. Big sphere, like this. Hopefully this is working, and last week we were having some technical issues, and hopefully my internet was down today for maintenance. Hopefully they fixed the issue. So hey, what's up Mark? What's up Neil? Welcome. Okay, so I'm going to subdivide this a couple times, just like I always do. Delete the lower. Okay. So how are you guys doing today? This wonderful Monday. Synopsis, hello. My name is actually S-H-A-N-E, but hello. Welcome. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to start out with the cranium as I usually do, and then I think I'm going to take Bay Rate's advice on this, and I'm going to color it right away. Kind of fun. Maybe a little more red on that. Not too bad. Hey, what's up, Leonard? Glad you could stop by today. How are you? Oh, no worries, Synopsis. It actually happens all the time. In fact, the it actually helps sometimes because it makes people remember me. I was at San Diego Comic-Con one year, and actually it was Lightbox Expo, and I was hanging out with my friend Dave Igo. He works at Sideshow Collectibles, and he knows J. Scott Campbell, who draws for like Danger Girl and stuff. And I'm like, oh, that's J. Scott Campbell, and Dave was like, I know him. I'm like, really? Could you introduce me? And he's like, sure. And so he introduced me as Sean. I'm like, dude, why did you introduce me as Sean? So anyway, funny story. But he remembers me, so that's good. Ah, yeah. Yeah, it is hot. It's like record-breaking temperatures here in Utah. It's like 110 or something. What is that, 48 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius or however that works? Hey, Shadow, welcome. Sheen Forsyth? I don't know if I know that. That's true, Leonard. That's true. You know, Leonard, the guy who runs ArtStation, his name is also Leonard, and he goes by Leo. So if I call you Leo, it might be left over from that. Okay, he's got a why the long face. Got my coffee here. Yeah, Josh has been drawing so many anatomy drawings lately. He loves to study anatomy, and he hasn't been doing these fun drawings as much as he used to. And so when he saw this one, or when he drew this one, I'm just like, ooh, finally, we got one. It's like waiting for a fish to bite. That's a good one. I like it. I mean, it's kind of a generic guy, but he's got this really cool nose and fun features, so. Okay. So I'm thinking about this. He's got this really big neck too. Mom wouldn't let anyone call me Leo or Leon. Interesting. She's like, that's not the name I gave you. That's what your mom sounds like, I guess. Sorry. Oh, why did I switch color? Here we go. Oh, did I not fill? Okay. It's funny because I drew this out and it's a little redder than what I had going. So, like, see that? This is more yellow and this is redder. I want the whole thing red, so there we go. Like, why wasn't it changing? Okay. Let's do auto groups. Oh, my custom menu isn't working. So if your custom menu ever stops working, all you have to do is come up to preferences and go to custom UI, not custom UI, config, and then restore custom UI right here. And that will restore it. And you can see it put my menu back here. And this is my custom menu. You can get this custom menu for free if you want to go download my brushes over on my website. It's 3dcharacterworkshop.com. And you can get them over there. And you can get this menu. It comes with it. This user interface comes with it. All of it for free. You can get it. Okay, so it does look like a Tom Bancroft or one of the Bancroft brothers drawings, doesn't it? Totally does. I didn't even think about that. Love the Bancroft brothers. They're fun guys. I have a story about those guys too. At the same, I think it was at the same Lightbox Expo. They wanted to interview me, but the only time slot they had was right before my flight was about to take off to go home. And they do this kind of they have this podcast thing called Breakfast with the Bancroft Brothers. Bancroft? Anyway. So they invited me, but I sat down and talked to them, but they didn't do an official interview with me because I had to run. I was running out of time, which was pretty crappy. So I still owe them an interview. Hey Dory, welcome. He looks like Mark Strong. Yeah, he looks like a lot of different people, I think. Okay, you can see how I have different resolutions of my geometry. This one's pretty low, and these are... And what I can do is I can Z-remesh them right now, or I can flood fill them with Sculptress Pro geometry, which is like decimation style geometry, which I think I'm going to do that. And that's this slider right here on my user interface. If you want to know where that is, for real, it's under the geometry menu under Tessimate. It's called Tessimate. And this slider right here is the same slider that's right here. So if I just have this like this, and I just kind of scroll this to the left, it will start to flood fill these objects with geometry, like specific interesting geometry that kind of looks like this, and it kind of takes on the facets that were there before. See, it's got these facets. All you have to do is smooth them out. So hold down Shift, smooth them out. Easy peasy. And sometimes I'll use relax on it instead of smooth. And that's where you start to hold down Shift and then you let go right in the middle of smoothing out stuff. Okay, I'm gonna put his body in here. It's always funny when I put the bodies in because I do the shirts last, and so he stays naked most of the time. Shirtless. Okay, and I kind of like to lean my character's torso or rib cage forward like this, or I guess it's back. It's leaning back instead of straight up and down like this. See, that doesn't look normal. So just kind of lean it this way, and then we can scale it up. That way you get this nice chest curve, nice back. There you go. Then we have the neck coming down into the front of it. So we can move this back, invert the mesh. Let's use Move Infinite. Just kind of pull this neck down a little bit. It comes clear down. Clear down to here. Holy cow. What's up, long neck Johnny? That's his name. Hey, Anthony. Hello. Welcome, welcome. Okay, again, now we have this geometry. I can just cut it right now or clip it. Use this clip curve brush. Just kind of give it a bust trim like this. And then I can do a flood fill on it. This. You can see his neck down there. And then I'm just going to do the same thing, just kind of smooth it out. Well, now it's getting some garbage going on. Because I trimmed it like this. Let me see here. I'm trying to decide what I want to do. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to run Sculptress Pro along this edge, because sometimes when you trim, it will make this kind of this flat piece, because it's taking all the geometry from the bottom and slamming it up against that dotted line. And I can smooth this out before I do the Sculptress Pro flood fill kind of a thing, but see, it's really fast, so let me slow that down. There we go, just to kind of fix that lip there. And just relax it away. I can do that with all around the outside so it's not so sharp. And then I can do the flood fill. Whoops, come on, back here. There it goes, that's better. It doesn't give me that garbage. Much better. I've been using Wander Image lately, trying to shrink the object, and oh right, I do that all the time. I do that all the time, like grabbing this ring and thinking it's gonna sculpt or scale. Yes. You get so much muscle memory. I do that with other programs too, especially with navigation. Like when I was going back and forth between Maya and ZBrush when I first started, my brain would just go bonkers. Because I'm trying to like muscle memory navigate between the two programs. Now that 3D connection mouse, if you guys are familiar with the 3D connection, I don't have it plugged in right now, but if you're going back and forth between several different 3D packages, that's one really good thing that the 3D connection mouse works for, is it kind of unifies the navigation in all 3D programs. Maxim, when you make a character like this, do you make his or her outfit with just masking and extracting? Sometimes I do, but typically in ZBrush, I will use the topology brush instead, because it's cleaner and it's lower resolution. And you'll see when I get there, hopefully I'll get there today, but I'll draw it on the surface, and then I'll add dynamic subdivisions with thickness, and then it stays super duper clean. That's what I like to do with that. Sometimes I'll do a mask extract. Just depends on the need. Okay, so I'm gonna get, I think I want to try something with this that I don't usually do. And it's like, well, trying to decide if I want to. I was thinking about doing a knife cut just to get these the eye cavities in there, but I think I'm just gonna push them in like I normally do. Hey Tattoon, I'm doing well, thanks. Welcome to the stream. How are you? Just gonna pull this back like this and pull it up like this. Just kind of get that shape, and then we'll put the nose in there too. I'm going to turn on topological so I can drag this back. Because the nose is going to kind of ride on the surface right there, and the brow kicks up. Okay. That'll work, I think. And here we go with the Pinocchio nose. Yeah, see, I wanted to grab this circle and scale it. Not how it works. All right. So now we can start to shape this nose. And even though it's low resolution, you can use this pinch on there. See this pinch brush? It's the this is a brush that started out as a Ma cut brush. Like your cap. Thanks. It's kind of my signature nowadays. Excuse me. And I can just kind of pull this down. This reminds me of a Ben Eblin drawing too, because of how sharp the planes are. Hey Chase, I'm just using Move. Just the Move brush. Just nudging things around. This was the pinch brush. So this pinch brush you can get for free over on my website at 3dcharacterworkshop.com. All the ones with these profiles right here, these are all brushes that I give away. I just watched Digital Tutors creating a stylized cartoon bird. Oh my goodness. How did that stand the test of time? That's probably my least favorite one that I did for Digital Tutors. It was rushed, so it kind of felt like not as good as the rest of them. Yeah, it's just 3dcharacterworkshop.com. You can go over there and grab it. Like I said, it started out as a Ma cut brush from a guy named Malachus the Black. Unfortunately, he passed away last year or earlier this year. I'm trying to remember. I met him at the ZBrush Summit. I should put his name. I need to change it to his name under there. Okay. Goodness, this is Stretch to Kingdom Come. So if you ever get something like this, again, all you have to do is go to this polygon size and just kind of touch it and then let go, and it'll just fill it with that geometry. And now we have way more geometry to work with. That's why I love working with that method so much. It's just kind of like if you've ever worked with oil paints before, it's kind of like putting gesso on your canvas to prepare it for sculpting on. That's kind of how I think about, tessimation. It's kind of like painting my geometry with sculptable mesh, like gesso. Luck Lori, hello, welcome. Looks like there's some issues here. See these little guys right there? If I run into these, I can either smooth it out with Sculptris Pro, or I can just do a mirror and weld. Mirror and weld. So it'll take this side and mirror it to the other side, and then the problem goes away. I think what I want to do with this one is actually put in nostril flares, nasal labial folds. Are you talking about Mike Andrew Nash? No. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I don't know where he went here. The concept, I have no problem seeing over the crowd. I really don't understand how your pinch brush, every time I use it, so the pinch brush, it drags the geometry towards the center line. So if you're having trouble controlling it, turn down the intensity, and then it won't drag so much. And also make sure that you have enough geometry to be able to support it. So for example, so you can see this edge right here. I'll grab the brush, and if you just lightly go down like this, see how it's like bringing all that geometry together? And on the surface it looks like this. So it's bringing all that together and pinching it very tightly. So you might want to, like I said, turn the intensity down a little bit. It works better on higher resolution meshes. You just kind of have to be careful on very low resolution. Doesn't always work out. But Neil, would you mind? It's like Michael Hernandez. I'm trying to remember what the A stands for. Maybe Michelangelo Hernandez. I'm trying to remember. Goodness. I think he's on my Michelangelo Hernandez. Yeah. Malachus the Black. Thank you, Neil. That's his name. That's what MAH stands for. MAH. And it's the MAH cut brush. So you can look it up. MAH cut. That's what it started out as. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I believe he had like kidney failure or something like that. What's the right time to apply decimation or Sculptris Pro? When you need the geometry. So it's not like there's not a specific time. You just do it when you need it. Like when you run out of surface resolution, that's when you do it. Yeah, I wish there was a kind of a rule or whatever, but yeah, it's a little messier than that. Do you like to use Lazy Mouse in your workflow? Not really, because I'm using a Cintiq, and Lazy Mouse is kind of better for using with a mouse when you're having a hard time making a line. It's nice to turn that on. But with a pen, with a Wacom pencil pen, you know, where you have one-to-one, where you're actually working right on the surface of the model, it doesn't really help you too much. I'm a bit sad I missed the summer sale, but hopefully there's another at some point. Yeah, you can reach out to me, Panic. So get to catch one of your streams. How's it going? I love your work. I've been saving to get on your workshop hopefully soon. Yeah, send me an email at shane.olson@3dcharacterworkshop.com. Well, I could probably work something out. Okay. That's work. Let's get his jawline going. This is another area where I like to use this MAH cut pinch brush, is making the jawline. And another thing I like to do is mask it off so I don't accidentally grab geometry that I don't want to grab. And let me show you what I'm talking about. So the pinch brush, it doesn't get along well with neighboring geometry, okay? Because it will pull, it's like a black hole, it will pull all the geometry into it, right? So if I wanted to, say, start to make this plane on the side of the head and start to pull, like pinch this together, I'm actually holding Alt while I do this, because Alt will pull it into a peak where the regular pinch will push it into a valley. And since this is a peak along here, I can hold my Alt brush down and it will subtract and pull it into a peak. So if you see as I'm dragging down here, see how it just pulls everything into the black hole that is the pinch brush. Okay. So you just need to be careful, and what you can do again is mask it off so it's not going to accidentally pull this in there. Okay, and what's nice about it is you can almost sculpt with it, like direct the geometry where to go with the pinch brush, because it pulls it so much, and then you can smooth it back out and pinch it again. I find the lazy mouse very useful for curved strokes and doing hair. Yeah, you can totally use it for that stuff. That's a good point, Leonard. Yeah, long sweeping lines it works really well for. Turn up the intensity and that will loosen this up. See how it loosens up the pinch? So you can pull it together, loosen it up, pull it together till you get what you want. So I kind of want this to pinch right here. Another thing you can do is to get this flat plane is to use the H polish brush. And you can just hit it like this. Get that, and that will start to create some creases too. And you can hit it down here. What I want to do is square this off. Yeah, it's pushing too much. And it will use all of the geometry in your scene that's showing. So if it's not giving you what you want, you can hide some of it. See how I can hit it with this flatten brush, this polish brush, and then smooth it on down. Hit it right here. So now you get some planes, and smooth it down so it's not so harsh. Okay, and I really want to get that sharp edge, so I'm going to use my move brush, get it sharper. And with that neck connection, I want to pull this down so there's an actual like throat. And then when I connect these two, I'll blend them together so there's even a better connection. Okay, starting to like how that's coming together. This line, see this line right here? It's kind of an indication of where that plane is. And then I feel like his jaw needs to be out so you can see it from the front. Bring this in, and then get that chin shape from the front like this. Ooh. Yeah, see now it's really sharp. This jawline's super sharp, so you can come in here and just soften it on up. And I move between smoothing and relaxing, back and forth. Okay, I'd better save this. Okay. I don't have any music going again. Get something going. Okay. There we go. Just kind of round that nose out and bring these nostrils into it. Kind of has a shape like this. I can use topological to only affect the piece that I grabbed first. And I can merge these together anytime I want to. Whenever I feel like it needs to be merged together. Kind of, I don't like to go very deep with my nostrils because it just looks weird in 3D. So I'll usually join these together and then smooth them out to fill out that. And you'll notice in movies like The Incredibles and stuff like that, their nostrils aren't very deep at all. They don't function as nostrils. Okay, so I'm going to take these two and blend them together. And how I do that is, let's see. Neil, does it work with masking or I think it's masking, right? Deep nostrils do look weird in 3D. What's up, Babu? How are you doing? Okay, I think it works with masking. Basically, I'm going to center the gizmo and reset it. And then I'm going to stitch this together. Okay, thanks, Neil. And then you turn symmetry back on. So I just want to stitch the nostrils to the nose. Sculpting along, awesome. And I'm going to click this gear, click on Remesh by Union, and that will stitch these two objects together, or three, I guess. Hit accept, and now we are stitched. And now what I can do is go to Sculptress Pro, turn this down, and just kind of sweep it. Let's turn symmetry back on. Sometimes these two sliders kind of correlate with each other. The bottom one is Tessimate or Flood Fill, and the upper one is your subdivide size for Sculptress Pro or dynamic topology in other programs. So you can see how it builds this dynamic topology as I'm smoothing along here like this. I kind of want to go a little bit higher with the geometry, the resolution, just so I can start to define things. And I can hit Control W. Oops. Here, let's invert the mask. Control W to put both of these things in the same polygroup. It doesn't really matter. I'm not really using the polygroups, but I kind of wanted to smooth the nostrils together right here. And now I can come back in. See how it has this really nice plane on the side of the nose right here? I want to bring that back in using the Mach Cut brush again. Now, Mach Cut does not work with, this pinch brush does not work with Sculptress Pro. The dynamic topology is turned off because otherwise it would be fighting against itself. You want to pull all the geometry together like a black hole, right? And if it was trying to make geometry that it's also pinching, it would just be fighting and causing garbage. So I just turned it off, that brush. And I can solo this. And then that way I can always smooth it out. Basically what I'm doing is the pinching is stretching the faces like this. See that? And then I can come right in up next to it and not hit the valley where I pinched it and just kind of fix those stretched faces if I want to do that. Sometimes I'll do And then I can get a really sharp crease in there if I want to. This is what I was talking about with the nostrils. I can just kind of soften this up. Let's crank up the intensity so it's not so slow. So it doesn't take forever to do it. And then I kind of want to pinch all the way up here. Okay. And the bigger the pinch brush, the more geometry it's going to pull. Okay, but see all these stretched faces now? I can just come in behind it and just kind of fix them. But if you don't want to get into the valley, or else you'll rebuild the pinched area and it won't look good anymore. And then I can also pinch the peak going down the nose again by holding down Alt so it pulls it instead of pushes it. There you go. Now, when you kind of cross the streams, when you get where the plane comes to a point, it's very, very tricky because one pinch will destroy the other. So you can do a couple things. You can either make your brush really, really small and just try and take it up there. Okay, and then rebuild these. And then you can do the opposite right here. And just try and get it to work, but sometimes it just doesn't, because it's fighting it. You know, it's going like, no, I'm gonna pinch, no, me. You know, like going back and forth. So what you can do is you can switch to this detail brush, and then just kind of run the detail across here. But it's not the same as pinch. I probably have to go higher resolution on it. Let's see what it looks like here. Yeah, just kind of get it close. Sculptus Pro has been a really powerful tool for me to create very interesting proxies for game assets that I can sculpt on. That's fun. I like your name, Kingdom Crafter. It's cool. I've been playing a game on Steam recently. What is it called? Fabledom. That's essentially like a Kingdom Crafter game. It's a lot of fun. It's in early access right now, but it's I love the little artwork on it. It's really fun. Okay, I don't want to have it this dense anymore. That's why I always check my wireframe because sometimes I'll forget the density level where it is. Okay, that's pretty good. That's pretty fun. There's like neighboring kingdoms that you befriend and trade with and spy on and fight if you want. Okay, let's get these eyes in here and start to work that out. Turn off Sculptus Pro for a minute. Future cube. You think it's necessary to join the body parts like ears and nose with the skull in the end? It depends on the final look that you're going for. If you need it to be connected and smooth, then yes. If you can get away with not connecting it, then you don't have to. Yeah, it completely depends on the look you're going for. Okay, for this, I'm going to hit split unmask points. And we might as well color these eyeballs so they're not skin colored eyeballs. Let's go into like here. There we go. All right. Now I can immediately see that I got to fix this here. I'm going to mask this nose off, because I want to move both the cranium and the jaw at the same time to start to shape the brow line right here. I want it to go like this. And then he's got this I'm going to put his expression in there early. Kind of has this raised, curved brow expression. Anyway, hope that answers your question. I tend to keep things separate just as long as I possibly can because it remains editable till the end. Okay, till Danny Mac, can you please tell your model stop giving me that blank stare, right? It's like, Danny hit a pretty big milestone recently. I'm trying to remember, like viewer milestone. Are you talking about just the blank white eyes? I usually don't put those in until I get the eyelids in. Here. I'll at least smooth them out. So let's get some, I gotta get his ears in there too. He's looking weird without ears. Okay, so since it's bugging you so much, I'll give him eyelids right now, and then I'll give him some eyes. Okay, so somebody was asking like about clothing. I build the eyelids the same way. I use the topology brush just because I can control it. When not sculpting model for printing, do you make the inside of the mouth, teeth, tongue on the spot or use the pre-made ones? It depends. I will typically use like, so I worked on Infinity, and we would have a set of teeth that we would share. Like I think male teeth, female teeth, and like, yeah, so we would share them. But typically I would make it's called a mouth bag, the mouth cavity. While I'm sculpting. Sometimes I'll do it in the retopology phase. I'll just leave it alone until I'm, oh, come on. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Got this going. Okay, so a fun little trick you can do with the eyelids is you can turn on transparency, and then you can stick the eyelids right to the eyeballs, even inside the head. Because usually I would leave transparency turned off, but when I drew the topology lines, it would stick to the skin, and I don't want that. I want it to be tucked inside. So now if I use the topology brush, you can see his eyelashes or his eyelids are kind of square. They're flat across the top and they kind of come in like a trapezoid. So I'll shape those like sort of like that. Come in across, back down, and see it goes inside the head. Okay. And then I can go inside the head up here too, like this. And roll it around here and just continue that line. And that's sticking to the eyeball, not the head. Okay, and then I can just come in with my cross-section lines. Just do this. Like that. And now I'm going to put in one more line through the center. Like that, just to have more geometry to work with. And then I can hold down Alt and just drag out here and let go, and it will clean up all those extra little tails. Okay, and then when I'm ready, I have a choice right now. I can either give it thickness right now, or I can change this draw size down to 1, and then it will just be a single-sided plane if I do draw size 1. And I'll click on the surface, and it looks like it disappeared, but it's actually embedded in the eyeball. And it will mask off whatever you drew it on top of. So I can then go split unmask points, and it will separate those into a different subtool. And then I'll arrow down on my keyboard because it's going to select the next subtool down in my subtool list. You can see them right here. Then if I solo those, you can see them right here. They're being subdivided right now dynamically. May we know your retopology process? I typically retopologize in another program, not inside ZBrush. I'll do some light retopology work in here, but if I'm going to retopologize a whole character, ZBrush just doesn't have the like super fast tools that I would need in order to do that. So I'll typically take it into like Maya and use Quad Draw or something else. It doesn't really matter where you do it, as long as you know the program well and you can do it fast. So then I can just come in here and straighten these out now. What is the purpose for retopping? To clean up your mesh for animation. So because a high resolution mesh is not going to be great for animation or specifically deformation. Like if you want your knees to deform really well and you want your mesh to be light, if you're going to be pushing your character into like a game engine or something like that, you want to have optimized geometry that is great for deformation. And so that's typically why. But if you're going to be just 3D printing or rendering your character, there's no reason to retopologize really. How do you take separate subtool files and combine them into one? Are you talking about, Leonard, are you talking about stitching or just merging them together? Because if you're just merging, you can just use merge, and then it's called merge down. So basically you take one subtool and merge it down to the next one. I'm still doing the old school half sphere trick for eyelids. Yeah, I don't do that anymore because it doesn't give me a good shape and it gives me too much geometry that I have to deal with. Okay, so the benefits of having this as a single-sided plane is I can turn on dynamic topology or dynamic subdivisions by hitting D. So see how it's being dynamically subdivided now. On my interface, it's right here. And I can add dynamic thickness right here. If you have a different interface, you can find it under dynamic subdiv under the geometry menu in the tool menu. So tool, geometry, dynamic subdiv, and it's on right now, and you can see thickness right here. I've just moved those up and out so I can have quick access to them. And again, if you want, you can go grab this user interface from my website, 3dcharacterworkshop.com, and get it. Okay, and then if I just crank up this thickness, you can see it adds, it's dynamic thickness, which means it's a preview of what it's going to look like when you add real thickness, okay? And the reason it's dynamic is because I can change this slider to different thicknesses. Now I can turn off the transparency, grab this color, and then fill it. Not flat color. Fill object. Come on, there we go. Okay, so now I have some upper eyelids done. And now that I have those, I can click back on my head mesh and edit it to shape the upper part of those eyelids better. Making the eye socket a little deeper right back here. Merging, but what if you have two different models with several subtools each? Is there a way? Yes, you can use a plugin called Subtool Master. And see, it says multi-append or multi-insert. You can bring in a whole bunch, like a whole character, using that. So that's where you. So if you're wanting to merge two tools together, that's how you do it. I keep meaning to make a set of eyelids as an insert brush, tired of making them from scratch each time. I totally get you. Yeah, I totally hear you. But at the same time, every eye that I make is different. So, and it's so conformed to the surface. I feel like I would spend just as much time conforming an inserted eyelid as I would just making it. And when I'm sitting here describing it, it takes a lot longer than if I were just to turn on that brush, draw the geometry, and be done with it. You know what I mean? It's not a huge effort. It does, but it does take some time. I know what you're saying. Okay. Whatever, Leonard. I've just been working with it so long, I just know where stuff is. Thank you, appreciate it. Glad I could help. Yeah, I'm always like time versus effort, right? Okay, and the thing is with this, it does support creased edges. Okay, this is starting to look like handsome Squidward, especially without the ears. Okay, so it supports creases. I'm gonna hit solo so you can see this. See how it has creasing on it? If I hit Shift D to turn off dynamic subdivisions, you can actually see that it's being creased down here. And that's totally fine. But it's set to crease level 3. So I'm gonna crank that down to 2. And what that does is it will hold the crease for 2 subdivision levels and then let go of it after that. And what that does is that will soften, it will allow you to soften those creased edges so they're not so sharp. So if I turn dynamic back on, but you can see this is set to 2. That means it's still being, the crease is still being held because I set it to 2. But if I go up to 3, you'll see it starts to let go of that crease. Maybe 4, let's see. I don't want to go too high. Yeah, there, it's starting to. Let me see, crease level. What if I turn that to 1? It's not really working like I expect it to. I think it's because it's being dynamically subdivided. See a bed from the community. Do employees expect you to be great when you first start out as a junior? I mean, they'd like you to be, but no. You just, okay, I'll tell you something about junior character artists, okay? They don't expect you to know everything, but they expect you to be good enough to be able to do the job that they need you to do. Okay, even if it requires some help in the end to help get it into a final asset or something like that. Because the reason people hire you is because they have a need, you know, and that need is typically they need characters. And they need you to be able to come in and hit the ground running as quickly as possible, right? So the less hand-holding anybody on the team needs to do with you, the better chances you have of getting that job, whether you're junior, senior, whatever. So just, and if they can look at your portfolio and go, okay, this isn't going to take much to get this person up and running, that's what they're going to look at. Okay, so with this, I'm actually going to turn down the subdivision levels. So what the dynamic subdivision is doing, it's doing 2 things at once. It's subdividing it and it's adding thickness, because I made this slider go up. So it's subdividing and adding thickness. I want to apply the thickness, but I don't want to apply the subdivisions. Okay, so I'm going to turn the smoothing down to 0. Okay, so now it has thickness, but it does not have smoothing. And I'm going to hit apply. Okay, what that does is that applies the thickness. And so I no longer need the thickness. So when I turn on dynamic, I'm going to turn the thickness off and turn the subdivisions back up. And so hopefully we'll start to see the creasing go down, which is what it did. Oh, post subdiv. Maybe that's why. But yeah, now it's gone now, so it doesn't matter too much. Since it's a single-sided object, crease level shouldn't matter, right? I've had it work before. I don't know why. It could have been the post subdiv thing that Neil was talking about. But post subdiv, I usually turn off the creasing altogether, and it gives me a completely different look. Here, let me just roll back. I'll just undo, and I'll go back to pre-applied. Okay, so now it has subdivisions and thickness. Now, if I just uncrease everything, okay, it looks like this for a second, and then I just turn off this post subdiv, and now it has no creasing. It looks like a pillowed edge. Okay, and sometimes that's what you want for an eyelid, because you're going to be putting like eyelashes on there anyway. So, hello, I use Cinema 4D. Maya, it's easy to import OBJ or FBX in my project, but it's very hard to import a file to ZBrush. It shouldn't be hard, especially with Cinema 4D, because they have GoZ. It's a plugin called GoZ that allows you to push it right over, like directly, and back again directly. So you might want to look into that. It's just spelled G-O-Z, GoZ, and you can push stuff back and forth between Cinema 4D and Maya that way. But sometimes I will like a little bit more control, and I will import OBJs, and that is just, it can be tricky to import, because with OBJs you have to import a single mesh at a time, unless you go and use this Subtool Master plugin to import multiple stuff. But yeah, typically it's just one OBJ at a time. But FBX is easier to use. And that is also under a plugin. I actually have it on my shelf over here. So this is the same as this Z plugin. These are all the Z plugins. So what you can do is you can use the FBX import export. And I highly recommend using FBX 2013. That's just a version of the plugin, okay, or the import export plugin. Use FBX 2000, you just click on this until it changes over to 2013. It has less problems. And then you just have to hit import, and it'll just bring it in. And it will bring in multiple objects. So that should help you out. I know it's kind of hidden and weird, but that's where it is. Let's see. Would you say an artist who primarily sculpts characters would still have to start out as an asset modeler? No, I never did. Or do companies hire junior character artists frequently? Yes. Yes. You don't need to start by making couches and chairs and stuff. In fact, if I see that stuff in somebody's portfolio, then I question it. I'm like, well, do you want to model couches and chairs, or do you want to model characters? So just have characters in there. Hi Shane, have you ever opened up a ZTL from an asset file you either purchase online from another artist and some of the materials show up super shiny? You can't apply. It depends on what, yeah, so you just look under, you can fill it with a different material, and how you fill it with a different material, that's actually why I have this on my custom user interface, is this flat color shader. Can you see me pointing to it over here? When you turn everything flat, if it's actually filled with a material, sorry, I'm doing a lot of teaching today. That's okay. Okay, so let's just give you an example. Okay, if I have my my character's head, right, and I'm going to select his nose, I'll just mask his nose. Excuse me, like this, and then I'll grab a different material, like some shiny, crazy reflection matte material. It might not respect masking, but I'm going to fill this with a material. So I'm going to get my paintbrush, and then I'm going to go up here to, there's MRGB, which means material and color. And then there's just color, and there's just material. Now this color is vertex coloring. It's poly paint is what it's sometimes referred to. And this is just the material channel. So it will not fill color in there, okay? So now I have this material selected, M selected, and then I'm going to hit fill object right here. Okay, you can also get to that underneath color, fill object right here. Okay, so now if I switch back to skin shade 4, See how only the nose is, looks like a mechanical, only the nose is filled with that material, okay? So sometimes when you bring in objects from other places or another Z tool from somewhere else, it may have one piece like this, okay, that's filled with the material. And how you can clear that off is you just go to this flat color right here, okay? And this will fill it and reset it. It'll clear it, okay? So again, with M selected, I'm going to hit Fill Object and see how that cleared it off and it filled it with the flat color shader. That's basically like scraping it off, okay? Now if I go back to Skin Shade 4, it'll change back. Yep. I know material's confusing in ZBrush, but it's that's kind of how you do it. And again, that's why I have it on my user interface. So it's easy to clear off colors, because sometimes, here's another thing. Okay, let's say I forget to change back to my poly paint and I just have material selected right here. Okay, but I have Skin Shade 4 right here. Okay, but I'm going to start painting with my paintbrush. I'm going to start painting like, oh, nothing is happening. Okay, but actually it is. It's painting that material onto the surface. So, for example, now if I pick a different material, like this one, look at that. You'll notice that where I was painting is not filled with that material. That's because I painted the Skin Shade 4 onto the surface with the material, right? So if I want to clear that off, all I have to do is go to flat color. See, check it out. You can see where the problem is right there. Flat color, fill object, and then it clears it off. And now I go back to Skin Shade 4 and I'm back in action. Okay? Yeah, I'll work on the glasses when I get to it. Okay, I gotta get the ears in there. I gotta make up some lost time. I've been doing some teaching today, a lot of teaching, and that's good. Ask questions. No guilt. I'm just saying that's why I'm slow today. Okay, I'm just using the move brush to kind of push the shapes in. Okay, let's see. Now I'm running out of material. I need to shape this ear better. It's very square shaped. Okay, and then it's pretty thick back here. I like to make the little ear cup. It's pretty fun to like drag this into the head to make that connection in the back. And sometimes I'll even take my detail brush and just run a little cut right here, so it's even more defined of a ear cup thing. Okay, I made this a little too deep. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm running out of geometry, so I can turn Sculptris Pro back on and then flood fill this with just by painting on it. Go back to my move brush. Now I have more geometry to play with. Then I can do the second kind of a carved out C shape in here. So there's this first one I'm working on, and then there's like a second one that I can push in like this. I just like moving my camera around to get the different angles while I pull it around. And then again, just hit it with Sculptris Pro if I'm out of geometry, and if your faces are getting stretched behind the scenes there, you can just hit it, and then you can bring this little ear nubbin out, smooth it down. Paul DC was streaming once, and I was watching his stream and I called it an ear nubbin. It made him crack up. That's the official term. Ear nubbin. Yeah, that's all you gotta do. I think people make ears a lot more complex than they need to be. I know this is not a realistic ear. This is just a, but it has some, you know, odes to a realistic ear, so it kind of looks like one. Like it's missing that Y shape that happens right here, and it's missing that little bridge thing that happens right there. That's okay. I just like the kind of double C thing going on in there. That's enough. Enough for me. Okay. He kind of has some big eye bags, and usually I will I'll either sculpt them in, or I can do just like I did with the upper eyelids and just make them and then merge them in after the fact. He does kind of look like Kylo Ren, doesn't he? He needs that hair though, which is funny because I sculpted Kylo Ren for Disney Infinity. Okay. I can work on his mouth right now. Totally looks like Kylo Ren. I can't see it, unsee it now. Oh, funny. I'm gonna tilt them back a little bit more though. Sticking out a little too far. Uh-oh. My stream still here? Oh, I was having so much technical issues last week that I'm afraid now. Okay. You know what? I think I am gonna cut his mouth in. Kind of looks like Ben Eblin a little bit too. Don't tell him I said that. Ben just kind of has this longer face. If you guys haven't seen Ben, he's a great concept artist who also sculpts occasionally. I found him recently, and he's really good at like painting to make it look like it's three-dimensional. Okay. All right, I'm gonna do the mouth now. Turn him to the side. And then just kind of run. I'm looking at the distance between the bottom of his nose and the middle of his mouth. And then, let's see, I think what I want to do is pull it in. So I'm going to do like a mask like this. Maybe thinner. There we go. Invert that mask. And use my gizmo and just pull it in. Start to create that mouth cavity. Now, if it's a character like this, it doesn't really matter if it's like an actually fully formed mouth cavity. Not a big deal. Scale it up inside there because it's just better if you create a mouth that actually has a mouth cavity rather than like cutting in the line, right? So once I have that, now I can clear my mask and then hit it with Sculptress Pro because these are very stretched out now. So now I can just come along with my Sculptress and just kind of flood fill and fix all these stretched out polygons like so. Smooth it on out. And then I can start to move the lips back together. Yep, mouth bag. Mouth cavity, mouth bag, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and then I like to start to make the mouth curve around the teeth. That's where a lot of people get tripped up because the mouth is at a different angle than like your forehead. Pull these nostrils into the head too. Okay. Pull this forward. Okay, and then I can start to form the lips, and you can use this with Move Infinite. And just kind of drag this back and drag this forward, and pull this down. And topological is turned on. I can change the fall off to like a 3, and now when I grab the lower lip, it won't affect the upper as much, especially if I turn to the Move brush. Change that to 3. So if I grab this lower lip, the upper one doesn't move. See that? It will around the corner of the mouth, and for that I use a different technique. But for this, okay, I don't want to close it all the way yet. You can also do a mask lasso like this, and then hit Control W, which will put the bottom or put whatever's masked in its own polygroup. So then I can easily hide this or hide the opposite. So it looks like a jawless zombie or something. Okay. Smooth this down here. And he has these smile lines right behind his nose. I just want to put those in really quick. Turn off Sculptris Pro for a second. And just kind of go, just to give myself a little bit of a guide, because his mouth is pulled clear back to here. So I'm going to be doing that. Okay, and then I'm going to use Inflate to kind of close the corners. Okay. Smooth it back out. You have to kind of be careful with Sculptris Pro, because Sculptris Pro will start to sew the corners together. I don't know if you can tell, but sometimes it will. You just got to be careful. It hasn't yet. Okay, so I still need to move the corner of the mouth up and back. Kind of got a little bit of a smirk going on. A little of that padding going on right there. Pull this in. Okay, and then for the upper lip, what I like to do is turn to the side like this. Angle my camera and then get the pinch brush. I can actually use topological with my pinch brush too, so it won't accidentally affect the lower lip when I do this. But I'm holding down Alt to pull it up into a peak, and then just kind of run it like this and down. Okay, so topological is not working very much. I'll turn that off. There it goes. Okay, so instead I'm going to mask this off like that. Are you so relaxed when you sculpt? I don't know. It's funny because I'm really not. Like when I'm done sculpting, when I'm done live streaming, I'm sweating. Like I don't know. I don't feel nervous at all, but something's getting me nervous, or I don't know what's going on, but I appear more relaxed than I am, I think. And I've been doing it for so long that it doesn't affect me as much as it used to. Okay. So I'm going to kind of shape these lips now. And you can see that I have stretched the heck out of these faces. So I'm going to turn Sculptris Pro back on. Crank my resolution higher, more dense, maybe even higher than this. There we go. And just kind of give myself some more geometry to work with. Same with up here. Do you know where I could get a mentorship for 3D sculpting? Yes. From me, if you'd like. I actually have a few spots available right now if you're interested. If you go to 3dcharacterworkshop.com and you scroll down here, I'll just show you. So this is 3dcharacterworkshop.com. If you go here and you scroll down to here, you can see this one-on-one coaching right here, which is my mentoring program. I also have a Patreon, and I have an online course, a full online course right here. So go check it out. There's other people that also do mentoring, like Anna. She's another streamer on here. She does some mentoring, I believe. I'm not sure if Paul DC does. I think Henning from Flip Normals. Okay, there you go. Thanks for asking. Yeah. It's got a hole right there. Okay, so if you ever get a hole in your mesh like this, you can just go close holes. That will close them like this. Do you do coaching in other sculpting platforms, or just no? I can just whatever you need. Other like yeah, it's not specific to ZBrush. I do portfolio reviews and career suggestions, and goal setting, stuff like that. I haven't been doing it too long. I did some group coaching for a while, which was really fun. I may start that back up. But I wanted to try one-on-one coaching for a while and see how that went. Okay. So for the bottom lip, it's quite a large bottom lip. I kind of want to do inflate along here. I'm going to turn Sculptris Pro off for a second. Yeah, a lot of my students have gotten jobs in the industry. Like at Blizzard and Funko and Disney, and there's a lot of my students in here, actually. Like the Babu. How's it going? Okay, that's a little too... It's so crazy how strong this pinch brush can be. So, just pinching this out. And with the bottom lip, I don't usually take it all the way to the corner of the mouth. And I want to smooth this down up here. It's a little too puffy. There we go. And then I can just kind of move it out and shape it like that lip. It's kind of square. There's a little, goes straight across and then cuts up. And then there's this valley underneath it. Any tips on how to not get unmotivated when you're not liking your sculpt? It happens to the best of us, man. Like I sometimes try to work on something for a couple hours and I start hating it. Yeah, you kind of have to push through the hate. And know that it'll get better. Sometimes it's best to start over, honestly, and then other times it's best to just push through the pain and the hate of it, and then know that the longer you spend on, well, not always, but most of the time, the longer you spend on it, the better it's going to get. Ryan Kingsland calls it the valley of the suck. And you kind of, every model goes through the valley of the suck before it gets better. Even if you've been doing it for 20 years like I have. It's not a big party all the time. What's up, McBobbles? How you doing, man? Practice detachment. And be objective. Absolute. That's really good advice. Yeah, just don't be don't get discouraged that it's not this amazing thing right out of the gate. And sometimes I feel like I'm doing a disservice to people making it look easier than it actually is, because it looks like I'm making this model in like 2 hours, right? Which I am, but at the same time, you have to look at it like, well, it's 25 years and 2 hours. You know, it's not. I didn't wake up this morning not knowing anything about it and just sculpting it. So, and even having done it for that long, I still, every single model is a struggle. And it's just the experience helps you work through it. But not all the time. Sometimes it's not going to work. So you got to figure it out. You can show it to other people, you know, get some feedback on it and help you figure out why it's not working. That's what's nice about being on a team, is you have other people there you can bounce it off of and say, what am I not seeing? Why is it having issues? It's funny too, because I'll stop these live streams and then I'll look at it with like a, hey, what's up, Matty? I'll look at it with like a very strict eye, you know, and I'll just be like, oh man, that's I don't know why I didn't see that when I was streaming, you know, because when I'm streaming, I'm talking and I'm not necessarily paying 100% attention to what I'm doing, and sometimes I just don't see things, and I'm just like, oh man, I totally missed that, and so I'll take a little time right after the stream and do some polish work and just some little things, and it'll take it from not so good to looking okay, you know. Do you afraid AI will replace you or make work too cheap? No. No, I don't know that I want to get into the AI topic, but I honestly don't know what's going to happen with AI, but what I can say is I don't see it taking the jobs of 3D artists anytime soon, because I mean, I haven't seen AI do good retopology UVs or anything like that for the last 2 decades, right? So they're always going to need that. And then there's just not the data out there to scrape for 3D models. All of the 3D model data is on like Sketchfab and stuff like that. You know, it's just not available to scrape to come up with that stuff. So it's like it's not going to make it makes good pictures of 3D renders. I've seen that before, and it does a fabulous job at that. But it can't make good 3D models yet. I can see it kind of generating a point cloud from an image. I could see it kind of doing that sometime, but I don't know how valuable that will be. And making textures, like AI textures, would be cool, but that would be helpful to me, not detrimental, you know? So I'm not too concerned about it. I feel bad for some 3D concept artists, but I think legislature is coming in and helping those people out soon. You know, and I always thought, like, I kind of have a solution for it, honestly, for 3D concept artists. And so I'm listening to Spotify right now, right? And remember when like pirating was going to kill the music industry and digital files and sharing and that kind of stuff, right? You remember that with the whole Napster and all of that stuff. So what happened is Spotify came along and all the musicians were able to put their music into Spotify, into this big pool, and charge a monthly fee for it. Well, this is my solution. I'm thinking you could just put, as a concept artist, you could put your art into a pool, like a concept art Spotify, and then AI could scrape just what's in that pool. And if AI uses your art, then you get a kickback fee. And then all the subscribers that subscribe to the AI Spotify would be paying those artists for their work, if that makes sense. So I think it would work, theoretically. What's next? Shirt or glasses? I haven't decided yet. Tokvan, I didn't know that. Sketchfab is the same owner's art. I did not know that. Interesting. Very interesting. Do it. Okay, I'm not happy with what's happening here. So I'm going to isolate this. Let's see. Fix that neck. So when I'm working, I don't sit and like decide what I'm gonna work on here and there. Not usually. Sometimes I will, but usually I just like, it's like robots. I see a need, fill a need. You know, I see that this has an issue and the jaw is a little too sharp, so I'm like hopping all over the place all the time. Okay, I gotta soften that up. I gotta fix that transition. Gotta fix this. It'll look better. It's looking weird. I think his chin is too far out and too sharp down here. I'll round it out. That feels better. I always tell my students that doing a character feels like cracking a safe, right? There's a code that you have to find, and you have to like turn the dials until it starts to look like that character. Like right now, I'm looking at the distance between the lower eye and the nose, and that's too long. It will help when I get the glasses in there, but this feels too long. And I also need to put the lower eyelids in there. I think that'll help him look like, that'll be another dial click, right? When I get the eyelashes and the lower eyelids in there. So I'm going to do that next before I do the glasses. Okay, so I have these eyes. Again, I'm going to turn on transparency again, and then turn on topological brush. Just kind of draw these lower eyelids in here. And maybe add a third in the middle. I know. I'm getting there. Whoop. I'm going to draw from the center first. Okay, and then split the difference. Okay, that's good. Good enough. Okay. So, you know, I'm drawing this on the eyeball. I think I'm not gonna do it this way. I'm gonna roll back because it's curling underneath the eyeball too much, and I want it to sit on the surface and be connected to the head. So I'm actually gonna undo that and not use the transparency trick. Turn that off and draw it on the surface of the See, sometimes I get talking and I don't pay attention to what I'm doing. Let's do that one more time from this side. Okay. Okay, that'll give me a better geometry to work with. I'm going to stretch these out and give me one more. Oh, come on. That's not one to give me that last one. There it goes. Okay. My neighbor's selling his house. The retailer used ChatGPT to write the house description. He didn't proofread it. There were so many incorrect words. Oh no. Oh gosh. Okay. clear this and, well, you know what? I think I want one more up here too. Up there. Okay. And let's do single-sided. Okay, and then split. Unmask points. Arrow down. Don't know why it made it white. There we go. Okay, so now we have these eye bags, and what I can do, or eye bags, yeah, I guess they're called bags. I just start to bring them out and shape it how the concept is showing here. I want to bring these out away from the surface. Kind of make a shelf. Bring this one on down over here. Okay, and I can turn on dynamic and you can kind of see it taking shape the way I want it to here. And I can start to pull this into the head. There we go. Look at that. See? Click. Even closer. All right. I can continue, after I merge these together, I can continue to shape it. I'm actually going to turn up the dynamic one more time. Yeah, Julie, just when in doubt, you know, scoped it out. No. When in doubt, use primitive objects, another shape. That's the most control you can get. Helps out a lot. Okay, now another click is going to be the eyelashes. So let's get those in before I do the actual pupils or irises. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of turn it like this. I'm going to select the upper eyelid and draw into that subtool. Okay, I'm just going to take it right along. Try that again, right along the eyeball. And go past it. I don't want to go too far out because it'll look female, but he's got on this side, he's got kind of, I'm pointing as if you can see where I'm pointing. Okay. Just kind of go like this. Usually I'll split, I'll go in the middle and on the ends and then split the difference and then split that difference. So then I kind of have even topology-ish. Clear that out. You know, I want to go down one more here though. Let's do that. Okay. Now this one, I'm actually going to give it thickness right away instead of using dynamic thickness because there's some edits I want to do. So the thickness is based off of your brush size. So if you look at that little center circle of my brush, that's the thickness it's going to give it, not the outside big red circle, the inner circle. So if I tap on the surface, boom, it's going to give me a thickness like that, and it'll mask off the eye, whatever I drew it on. And then I can do a split unmask points, arrow down, and now I have this selected, and I'm going to uncrease all. I don't want it creased. And then turn, yeah, so post subdiv is already off because it was off on the eyelids underneath it. Okay, so now we have these eyelashes and we can color them darker. So let's go darker, not all the way black, but like a dark brown in here somewhere. And remember, I was messing with materials earlier. I want to make sure that I have RGB turned on, not materials. Fill object. Now we have our eyelashes, pretty dark. Well, that's kind of, they have a really unique shape on either side, so I want to get that unique shape kind of curled up and thinner. And I'm going to use my smooth. and that will reduce the volume of them. And then shape it square. There's very the eye shape is very square, so it's very flat across the top. But I like to do that with the eyelashes themselves sometimes, and then make the eyelid match the eyelashes versus the other way around. What is post subdiv? Welcome to the stream, Nat. It is it means after the subdivision. So that all that is telling it to do there. Well, like I mentioned before, dynamic subdivisions does two things. It will subdivide your mesh and it will add dynamic thickness. So it's like pretend thickness and pretend subdivisions, okay? And the order in which those things happen is determined by whether this button that says post subdiv or pre subdiv is selected, okay? So if this is on, then the thickness happens before the subdivision. So it'll add the thickness, then it'll subdivide it. And if I turn this off, it'll be the opposite. It will subdivide it first and then add the thickness, or one way or the other. So, but that's what that means. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's confusing. Okay, so there we go. Now let's make him not have such a blank stare. Just for you, Lori. Okay. Probably like, yay. Here we go. So what color eyes should we give him? Let's give him some blue eyes. Blue. Somewhere in here, maybe. Let's do it. So I have his eyes selected. And click and drag a new sphere. Looks like he's looking at a fly that's landed on his forehead. And then shrink this down like this. Very thin. Well, maybe not that thin. I like to kind of keep it the same circumference as the eyeball underneath there. And then just kind of have it floating there. Now he's looking up too far. Bring it down, but then I want to bring his see, this is very telling, because I want his irises about here, but then his eyelids need to come down quite a bit, and his eye bags come up quite a bit. Okay. So something like that. Otherwise, if I don't move his eyelids and eyelashes, he's going to look like a deer in the headlights. See? Look at that. He's like, and I see this a lot. And basically, all you need to do to fix this is just, you need to have your eyelids cover, like, what is it? A sixth of your iris? I'm just making up numbers now. But if I bring this down and cover, let's bring it forward too. See, all of a sudden it looks like he's not deer in the headlights. So something like that, maybe even lower. He looks pretty, almost stoned. Bring this up. Okay. And then we'll take these eyelids, bring them on down to match the eyelashes, which will make his eyelids a little bit longer. He's long in the lid. I don't know that he has that long of eyelids. We can pull this down. Yeah, it's exposing the eyeball itself. So then I'm going to grab this actual head, turn on topological, and bring this on down to meet it. And bring his brow forward as well. I don't want to bring it too far forward because I want to have him still have an eye socket. There we go. Okay. It's looking pretty good. And then I really like that V shape of his lower eyelid. Very V shape. So I'm going to bring this down. Bring this up. And forward. I think this is too far to the inside, so let's bring it to the center. Turn off dynamic subdivisions for a second so I can actually see the geometry I'm working with. And I'm kind of running out of geometry here, so I can add some extra cuts, some spans, as my friend Chris Wright likes to call them. So I'm going to go to Z Modeler, and by default it's set to insert edge, and I can just insert new edges in here. Just give me some more spans to work with. Go back to my move brush and just clean these up. And the closer these are together, the tighter the little notch or crease is going to be. So I can make those kind of tight, so when I go like that, you can kind of see that it's giving me a tighter valley right there in that little notch. I want to fade this in as it goes back. Fade this in too. Okay, is it not giving me thickness? It's not, is it? It's just a shell. Okay. I don't want it to be creased. Turn off post. There we go. Let's add a little more thickness. And then you can see it's kind of sitting on the surface here. I'm going to pull it back into the head. Okay. So I don't want any air up underneath there. I don't want, it needs to be, like they say, watertight. Okay. Cracks me up. Okay. And I think his eyes are actually like this. Yeah, there we go. They kind of go from up down like that. Again, it's like I said, cracking a safe. It's like all the little things. What makes him look like him? What are the things? And it's pretty crazy how, I think I did it too much. How little teeny tiny tweaks can make such a huge difference, especially in the face and in the eye shape itself. Okay. It's so funny how this is kind of looking like Ben Eblin. Okay, let's get him some eyebrows. He's like naked brows. I think the brows are a big part of who he is as well. He's got that kind of worried, kind of, I don't know what you'd call that look. I'm going to pinch this brow kind of like this, bring it down like that. See how that kind of continues around the cheek line. Kind of goes up like this. I can smooth that out a little bit. Okay, let's get a brow going on. So I'll just do the same thing, topological brush. And looks like it goes, these are pretty thick eyebrows. We'll go from thick to thin. It is a wry smile, isn't it? This one I'll do 2. Clean it up. I'm going to give it some thickness right away, I think. Hey, blue eyelids are all the rage. Okay, split unmasked points. Arrow down. Blue eyebrows. Okay, let's go. I'm going to pick this skin color again, so it's in the same family, and then take it down to like a dark, pretty dark, then fill. I just used Subtool Master. That was certainly easier than my brute force way of move sub. Oh my goodness, yes, like a pen. Yeah, that no thanks. Well, I'm glad I could help. Okay, uncrease all, post subdiv is off. We can just kind of shape these. Now one is making a different expression than the other one, but that's okay. We'll kind of average out both. And the one on his right is very close to his eye, and the one on he's kind of doing that rock, one eyebrow up, one eyebrow down kind of thing. So I'm gonna kind of pull this down. A little too high, I think. Okay. He's just kind of staring out into space. But okay, I don't have too much longer, but I'm gonna do somebody's asking about how would I do the glasses. There's a couple ways. I could just start with a cube and just go crazy with extruding things. I think I might do that since they're so square. Another way I could do is mask extract. Another way I could do it is draw the topology on a temporary object. But let's do some Z modeler. I don't really get too much. I don't get to do that too often. So let's do. But let me put some red into his face first to give him some life. I always like to do that. Grab the airbrush, grab the skin color, kick it to red a little more down into the reds right here, and then grab our head. Just kind of lightly blast some red around. Usually where it's fleshy for the most part, like his ears, on his cheeks right here, and the tip of his nose, and of course his lips. With the lips, what I like to do is on this bottom lip, you can kind of, I'll go to the sharper brush. You can try it. This might be a little too dark. And a little, yeah, let's go a little lighter with that. That's better. Okay. Smaller brush. My watch is telling me I need to stand up. And I can also smooth this edge, and it'll blur it out a little bit. Okay, now with that top lip, I like to go a shade darker. And I can also mask it off. Okay, so let's go a shade darker. Like that. There we go. All the way to the corner. And we can smooth it too. Clear the mask. There we go. And it's a little open right here. We can take our inflate and just kind of inflate that closed more. Okay, and inflate this closed a little more. And kind of build up the corner of his mouth a little bit. Smooth out the back side of it. Something like that. All right, I kind of want to take the color of this a little further. Not super sharp. Okay. There we go. That's better. And then for like his eyelids and stuff, I like to go grab the skin color again, go a little darker shade with the spray and just kind of like fake ambient occlusion essentially. Darken that up. Same with this one. Come on, select it. There we go. Not bad. All right. Glasses. Here we go. So I'm going to grab his head and insert a square. We're going to start with a cube. Just this first cube right here. Go in the center, drag it out, and snap it. And then I'll split unmask points, arrow down. And now I have this little cube, and this is going to be the little nose thing. Goes over the nose. And we're going to make it thin. And rotate it so it matches his nose like this. A little thinner. Okay. And we're just going to go crazy with extruding things. So we'll go Z Modeler. I'm trying to think of how I want to do this. Okay. Q mesh works. You just drag it out. And then I can work with masking, like mask everything but this end here. Center it so I can hit this this little send gizmo to unmask mesh center. Hey, what's up, Sammy? Getting crazy. So I could leave this piece just by itself and then just and then subdivide it and that's it. And then do the glasses as a different piece, which I think I might just do that. That way I can leave them separate. So I'll uncrease this, subdivide it, clear the mask. There's that center piece. Let's make it like a silvery gray or something. Maybe like this. So it's not skin colored glasses. Okay. Now I'm going to insert a cube again, but double it. Okay, and then stretch it out like this. Go like this. Make it kind of thinner. I can adjust this whole thing after the fact, but maybe not that tilted. Is that about right? Okay. Then you go to Z Modeler, hover over the face, hit space bar, and do inset is what it's called. Inset. Where is it? Inset right there. Single poly. Okay, and just leave the rest. And then you can just grab this and inset it. Whoop, that's not what I want. Come on, grab the right one. There it goes. I'm going to turn off dynamic subdivisions and solo this so we can actually see what we're working on here. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to inset it like this, maybe like that. Then I got to do the same thing to the back. Inset that about the same. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to Q mesh. So Q mesh a poly. Where is it? Where are you, Q mesh? Oh, am I not on a face? You have to be on the right. You can't be on an edge, you can't be on a point. You have to be on a face. And it's right here, Q mesh. I was looking alphabetically. And what that'll do is it's kind of like an extrude, but when it meets another face, it's going to like delete it. So I'm going to push it back. And then if I push it back far enough, it goes away. See that? Boom. So, yeah, we have our glasses just like that. You set the side of one of the insets, you can just click on the other. Ah, nice. Instead of guess, like I am. Okay. Okay, so now we kind of have these frames here. And if we want to adjust them a little bit so they're not so perfectly square, you come right here and do a bevel, edge loop complete. And I'm just going to go grab this and just kind of go like that. And it bevels it. Just do all the corners like that. Okay, and then I'm going to do an insert. And insert a loop down here and one up here. And one here. And one over here. And that way, I can grab this Move Infinite brush and move all 4 of those dots at the same time. Just kind of bend it out, bend it up a little bit, bend it down a little bit. That's so it's not so perfect. And then I'm going to uncrease all, hit dynamic, and now it looks something like this. So it's a nice, it's not so perfect. It's like kind of smoothish, has some bends in it. It's not so perfectly square. Okay, it doesn't take too much effort to do something like that. And it just comes down to practice and yeah. So we can get back to this center piece. Okay, I got poly groups for days now. I don't need all these poly groups, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do an auto group. Okay, and then I'm going to do a mirror and weld. Do you ever encounter bugs or tools not performing properly when doing finer adjustments? Not really. I mean, once in a while. Most of the bugs and stuff that I find have to do with Sculptress Pro leaving holes, doing strange things. Yeah, the glass material done in a different application, yeah, for sure. Unless I'm going to be, I can build the glass, so I'd actually build the glass out in here. But if I want to render it, I can render it in, oh goodness, what is it called? What's the Maxon renderer called where I can just push it over? There's some materials and you can just select the glass material, stick it on there, and then push it over to that renderer, and then it will render out transparent. Redshift, thank you. Okay. So the connection point, you can either like physically weld it together or just leave it separate. You know, and you can just kind of continue to tweak these things. Make it wider. And you can always come in here and like turn the dynamic subdivisions off. Grab a face. I'll grab Z Modeler. I'm already on QMesh. Just kind of make it a little bit longer here. And another thing you can do is, so I kind of want to mask this face off and transform it. I can push spacebar, click on transpose, a single poly, and then if I click on that, it masks everything else off except for this single face, and it puts the gizmo right in the middle of it. And now I can just tweak it, move it. Let's turn on dynamic subdivisions. And if I want to, I can crease around this. So let me see. Kind of want to get it closer with that connection point. But I can do, yep, twist it, bop it, pull it. I want to slide this edge down. See, it's getting too close there. I can hover on this edge, go to slide, and change it to edge loop complete. Grab this edge and slide it on down. And then I can go back to my move tool and just kind of tweak these points around so they're not so twisted. Okay, and this is just basic polygon modeling essentially. But I want to hide this so I can get in here and not have it be so twisted. Why you gotta be so twisted? There we go. So then they're not, what's that called? Non-manifold. If you get it too far, they call it manifold geometry. When it bends on itself. And then that opens up different issues. Okay. And then for these pads, I do the same thing. I just insert a sphere and squish it down and make the pad. Not a big deal. And then make the little thing that holds the pad come off of there. And then for the legs, whatever they're called, the arms of the glasses, I can just insert another cube and just run it down there. Like this. So I know we're out of time, but I'm just going to stretch this out, rotate it back, squeeze it on down. Maybe squeeze it a little bit this way. Something like that. And then I do the same extrusion and bend it down so it's like a glasses arm thing. I can even make the hinges and stuff in there. Not a big deal. But there you go, guys. I'm looking at it now and I feel like his head is it's a little wide even. I could go even a little narrower with it. And then there's too much space right here. I'm just kind of giving you an evaluation of what I'm thinking about fixing after the stream. So I kind of want to raise this nose up even more. I think I'll do it really fast to show you what I'm talking about. It really kicks up right there without destroying the mesh. And then I add some of that volume back in there. This is twisting down too much. See that? And then I'll have to smooth this out now because I've pinched it up and made it weird. Yeah, sometimes it's like a programmer. Sometimes you fix something and something else breaks. See, I made a big warble mess right here. I'll have to go in there and smooth it and fix it. Do you find the way the drawing has the extra white border outline to be disruptive of your assessment? No, I actually did that. I put that white border on there just to make it look like a sticker. So it kind of knocks out the back, but not really. I can see past that border, but if it does bother you, you can make it so you don't cut out the background like that. Yeah, Josh's original drawing did not have that. So, I kind of want to put this little, see this little line going down and around? I want to put that in to see what it looks like. And somebody's asking about Lazy Mouse. I do have Lazy Mouse on this detail brush. Okay. Just going to smooth this on out a little bit. Now we have double mouth corner fat happening. All right, you know what? I want to do one more thing that I'm seeing. What do you think that is, guys? Can you guess? It's the neck. Look how thin the neck is. So he's turned like this, and his neck goes all the way behind his ear. It's thicker than what I have it. So let's see what I can do about that. Okay. Just widen it this way. Widen it this way. It's got such a big neck. It's funny because it looks like a skinny pencil neck because it's so long, but at the same time it's wide. Okay, it's all the way down there. Funny. Okay, all right, you guys. His head's more upwards. Yeah, my guy, I could lean him forward so you see more of the top of his head. I think the head shape is wrong. Like, I need to pull it. Yeah, these are all the little tweaks. So after the stream is over, I'll like sit down without having an audience and be able to really look at it with a more art director eye and assess what's missing and what I can change and fix it. Because I can only see and change so much while I'm streaming. So, all right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it. And as usual, have a wonderful week. If you want my interface and my brushes, you can always go get them for free over on my website, 3dcharacterworkshop.com. I also teach a full comprehensive course over there. There's more than 2,000 students that have enrolled in that. And I opened up my mentoring. So if you need some mentoring, check that out. There's a couple seats open. And I've started a Patreon as well. Busy. So anyway, thanks guys. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Mark. Thank you everybody for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful week, and we'll catch you next Monday. All right. We'll see ya. Bye.